Y'all, welcome back to the Ecom Dispensary. This is the second official knowledge drop. This is the first episode of that. I think this is going to be number 11, episode number 11. And this is what we're going to be talking about. This is actually a reader request. I forgot who put this in here. I just saw this in the chat, but someone asked us to talk about the topic of how to maintain a high ROAS while scaling. And I thought that was a really good question. There were honestly a couple really good questions in there, but that one I really, really liked. So in this one, we're going to be talking about that. This is actually going to be a bit of a special one too, because not only do I have Scotty here, but I also have our boy Josh, who is he's basically, our main marketing guy on our team. He runs all of our ads. He manages everything, and he essentially is going to be able to give you a more in-depth perspective than me or Scotty will, because he's the one that's actually doing this stuff on a daily basis inside the ad account. So we're going to talk to him about that and get some more insights from him. But first, I want to talk to you, Scotty. I want to get your general opinion on what is the general strategy maintaining a high ROAS while scaling. What's the deal here? Because as we all know, as you scale your ad spend, your ROAS tends to go down. So what are your general thoughts on how to kind of combat that and keep that ROAS number high, even as you start scaling into big money territory?
Gotcha. So I think before you even start scaling, the first thing you have to do is look at your margins and figure out what is the minimum ROAS that I need to achieve to hit my target margin, whether that's 20%, 25%, 30%, whatever it may be, the net margin you want to have. Figure out the ROAS that you need to hit in order to end up with that margin. Once you've done that, there's a bunch of steps you can do to maintain ROAS as you scale. In general, if you do nothing, like if you just take the same ads you've been running and you increase the budget, the entire ad account budget, if you increase the total spend, your results will generally go down, unless something changes in the broader e-com or Facebook sphere. So as you scale up, you need to be improving somehow. You need to be improving so that you're at a 3 ROAS, you scale up, it should drop to 2.8, but because you've improved something, whether it be on your store, in your ads, wherever, you're still at that 3 ROAS or whatever your target is. The big things we do are, number one, test a shit ton of ads. We're testing multiple ads every single day. That's different creatives, different copy, different angles. And through that, we pretty much always have a couple ads that are crushing. At any given time, there's going to be a couple ads that are doing really, really well. And then we can scale those and have those in the higher budget ad sets and higher budget CBO campaigns. If you've only got like 1 or 2 good ads, and I know some people who've scaled up to like decent amounts with just really one ad that's working really well, that ad is going to die out. Sooner or later, that ad is going to stop working. And if you've been running just pretty much one ad and that's all that's worked for you for months and months, when that does stop working, it's often really hard to get something new to work. That's why we're just continuously testing a bunch of ads that we've always got backup ads for when the main ads inevitably die down. Besides that, the other thing we're doing is we're monitoring the performance at the ad set level, and we're looking at usually past 4 days performance. And whenever something dips in performance, even if it was doing great before, if the past 4 days are break even or below break even, we're going to shut off that ad set and we're going to replace it with something else, maybe a different interest, maybe a different lookalike. Maybe we're going to use the same audience with different ads. We're going to do something to try and get that performance back, because much like any given ad will eventually die, any given ad set, it has a shelf life. It's going to do great for a while and then it's going to stop working. And oftentimes, if it stops working, you can just kill it and literally relaunch it the next day with some changes or maybe even no changes, and it's going to start working again. So basically what we're doing to maintain ROAS is we're testing a lot, we're shutting off ad sets that are underperforming, and we're trying to recognize those quickly. So after 3 or 4 days max. And then we're always launching new ad sets as well to replace that spend and ideally even increase the spend so that we're scaling up.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I think one thing that I really want to emphasize that you mentioned it, but didn't really like emphasize it super hard, is that I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's like a whole lot of specific little tactical things that you can do in Facebook to really combat the fact that your ROAS just tends to go down when you're scaling. I think the main thing to really be focusing on is just overall improving what you're doing. That's really the only way to increase your ROAS or to maintain your ROAS at scale, is to be constantly improving what you're doing. I think this gets lost on a lot of people. Like, they just think that once they get a store up and it's working profitably, that they can just kind of like sit there and just start scaling up and then just kind of leave it as is and just I don't know, just profit like that. But that's not really how that works. It's really a constant game of improvement. And over time, I mean, we've been running our main brand for over a year now, and we're still constantly testing new things, constantly trying to improve our results so that we can continue keeping that ROAS high as we scale even further.
Exactly. And honestly, the fact that ROAS dips when you spend more on the ad account, that is a feature, not a bug of Facebook. If you go for some of the shittier algorithms, the native advertising or like Snapchat or whatever, the companies that don't have as sophisticated an algorithm as Facebook, I think you'll see more consistency when you scale. But the reason for that is because, so when you're at low scale, Facebook is great at finding the exact customers that are highly likely to be interested in what you're selling. But there's a limited number of those people. So when you're only spending $100 a day, Facebook is first going to show your ads to the people it thinks are going to be highly likely to be interested in buying. As you start spending 10,000 a day instead of 100, Facebook is going to have already exhausted the people who are most interested and is going to be casting a wider and wider net. And therefore, your chance of getting conversions at the same efficiency, it's just impossible. You're not going to be, the algorithm is not going to be as efficient at higher scale as it is at lower scale. And that's a good thing. That's a sign of a really good algorithm.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of how it's supposed to work. And you just got to keep improving. You got to keep making new ads. Like, anytime we're making ads, we're trying to beat our current best ads. And if you keep doing that and you do that consistently over a long period of time, I think that's really the biggest one. I mean, Scotty, would you say that that's kind of the biggest thing, is just testing a shit ton of ads? Obviously, there's other things that you can do, other improvements that you can make, but would you say that that's kind of the biggest one?
For maintaining scale, for maintaining ROAS while scaling, that is definitely the biggest one. I would say that it's not necessarily about beating your current ad. It's also about getting more ads that work. Even if your best ads are at 4 ROAS, if you can find other ones that are at 3.5 ROAS, but still super profitable, even if they're not quite as good as the main one, that main one is going to die. And in order to be consistent at scale, you're going to get better results if you have multiple ads that are working and not just one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's a good distinction there. I like the little bit of nuance you added on there, Scutsman. All right, so that's kind of the general rundown. Now, Josh, we got you here.
Yep.
What's up, man? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Josh. I've been running ads for this brand about 3 months after it started, and it's been going really well so far. I also have run multiple stores before, and yeah.
Yeah, Joshua. I think Scotty was the one that kind of met Josh, and then we formed a team, and Josh was our main dude, and has remained so ever since, and has managed to help us scale our brand to 7 figures, and next stop 8 figures for sure. So, Josh, last week I remember we were talking on the team call, and or maybe it was last week or the week before that. And I remember one of the goals was to raise the overall account ROAS, as we were scaling to, I think, around like 3.5, I think was our goal.
Yep.
I think before that, the ROAS had started to dip a little bit. It was hovering around like 2.8 or 3. Walk me through what you did. Because if I remember correctly, that was pretty successful. And obviously there's a lot of other factors that go into it, overall marketing conditions and stuff. And who knows, if the specific actions you took or the sole 100% cause of it. But from what I remember, whatever you did resulted in us being able to get back to around that 3.5 ROAS mark. So walk me through how that happened and what you did there.
Gotcha. Okay. So can I just back up a little bit and go over the whole month quickly, or?
If you can do it quickly.
Yeah,
let's see it.
quickly. So at the beginning of the month, the best format was single image ads. It was mostly model content rather than UGC, which has been a great winner for us in the past. So the main format was pictures, and something that I wanted to test right around the time that results started dipping were video ads. And we'd run video ads in the past, which is very simple, just basically UGC videos of people touching the product and just using the product, but not really with them in it. And the change that I made was that we got a bunch of UGC videos from our customers using our product, wearing our product, and I started making videos with those. So basically I just changed up the format of our ads, and that started working very well. So then what I started doing is making more ads that are similar to that, also testing more copy that is similar to the main copy that was working, and that angle, the same angle, so similar angles as well. And I was also testing totally new concepts as well, like I always do, just to find new winners, just in case our newly found video winners stopped working. And that's how the results were.
Josh, I'm going to throw you a little curveball. I wonder if you can get us a good answer here on the spot. A lot of people struggle when they have something that's working. They struggle with coming up with new out of the box or just different ideas for things to test. They really struggle with that because they see what's working and then they get super fixated on that. What advice would you give for coming up with brand new ideas? Because you've been doing that a lot lately.
Gotcha. I'll answer that, but just quickly before that, I'd say that it's actually kind of not good, but part of that's good to get fixated on and like try to get a bunch of similar things to your current winners. But a great way to come up with new ideas is the way I do it. I go through, I'll just sit on my couch and I'll think about why people buy our product. I'll think about literally everything, and not just the base level. Like, let's say I'm selling a spoon. I'm not going to just think, okay, people are buying a spoon so they can eat their soup. I'm going to try to think deeper than that. And people are buying the spoon to nourish themselves so they can keep living, or they're buying the spoon for whatever, just deeper reasons behind that. That's basically what I do. How I do it, I get a lot of inspiration by reading marketing books. When I read marketing books, I get most of my good ideas after reading them. So that's a great way that I'd recommend. Also, reading reviews, and I guess just thinking on your couch about different ways and different reasons people are buying your product for. I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but that's what I do.
I like that. I don't think there's anything like super crazy. I don't think there's any I don't know, magic bullet answer there. It's just kind of a process. That is interesting though. I think it's funny that you just sit on your couch.
Yeah, just stare at the ceiling.
I'm just imagining you sitting on your couch, like staring up into the sky, staring over the ceiling, like But I do think that's a good point. Looking more deep into why people buy a product, and instead of just hitting like the surface level, your example of the spoon, why are they actually buying the spoon, and then kind of using that to make new, especially ad copies. I would imagine that's like very directly relevant to the ad copies, because then you can kind of change up the angle of the ad and really angle it towards a very specific thing that's a little bit deeper than just those surface level reasons.
Yep. Could I add one thing actually to what I just said about the like laying on your couch and thinking?
Absolutely.
So if you force yourself just to think about the specific product and you just sit there, like no distractions whatsoever, you just sit there, you'll come up with an idea eventually. But you just have to force yourself, like just come up with an idea. And after you come up with that first idea, so many more ideas will flow in. That's just something that I noticed.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like you got to kind of force yourself to just like get bored for a second and it can be really tempting to get distracted and go and, scroll through your phone or go back and watch something or do whatever. But if you can just like get through that initial stage of just like making yourself bored, then you'll come up with ideas.
Yep.
You also have to give yourself permission to come up with and write down horribly shitty ideas. Like your first idea doesn't need to be good, but you just need to get that ball rolling. Because if you're sitting there thinking, oh, is this a good idea? I'm not sure. You're not going to get that momentum going. Just every idea that you have, write it down and keep the ball rolling, keep coming up with new ideas, and then try and pick the right one afterwards, not while you're trying to be creative.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point there. So Josh, to end this off, do you have any other tips for maintaining ROAS while you're scaling? Anything else that we haven't really touched on here? Any final words for the viewers that might help them maintain their ROAS while they're scaling?
So I do have a few, and they're more like ad account related. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right.
Spill the
So
beans.
a great way to test ads, just so you're not, I guess, doing the exact same thing over and over again every day. It's nice to test creatives on one day and then test copy another day. And then when you find a winning copy or winning creative, you can test those two together, and you'll often find a really good ad from that. A great way to get to the next level, because I'm sure this is a question that a lot of people ask you guys, how to scale up when you feel like you can't scale. A great way is whenever a holiday comes around, let's say not even a big holiday, but let's just say Valentine's Day. You can create like a very small sale. Maybe you charge $2 for shipping, just offer free shipping, launch a CBO. I don't want to talk about budget wise because I don't know what budget they're currently at, but something that's substantial. And just launch a little holiday sale, and that will give you a platform to scale off of. That's actually an amazing way to get to the next level after feeling like you can't get to the next level. As Scotty said before, relaunching old winners is great, but there's actually other stuff that you can do, not just relaunching the winner itself. What you can do is you can just make very tiny tweaks with the winning, let's say, video or image, and then also the copy, and that could turn into an amazing ad as well. Make sure you don't, when you're at scale, make sure not to make any huge fluctuations in spend, as in don't raise the budget very quickly, don't kill it very quickly, and give Facebook time to optimize the ads. That's all I'd say. Yeah.
I think those are some pretty good tips right there. Scott, man, you got anything else to add on to that?
Yeah, I got to jump in there on the give Facebook time to optimize.
Scotty's got some nuance to give us.
How many months? How many days?
Oh, okay, so I was just talking I should have been more clear there, but I was just talking very specifically on ads. Let's say you have a goal of a 3 ROAS to get a 25% margin, and you want to kill everything under that. I'd say give your ads a little bit of leeway, because Facebook actually doesn't report correctly. It always underreports. And also just that it takes time. So like, let's say you're testing ads on a daily basis and you see that the past 2 days of ads are just doing horribly, but they're good ads. They're your strongest angles. They're good creatives, but they're just not doing well. Just give them time. Give them maybe 3 days. And I've seen so many times where an ad will do pretty bad at the beginning, but day 2 rolls up, day 3 rolls up, and it's an amazing ad that lasts for weeks, right?
So how many days?
I just wanted to clarify that, leaving it to optimize. Some people will get the wrong impression there. We're talking like 2 or 3 days. We're not talking for super long periods.
Yeah, you don't want to be leaving your ads that are losing you money on for months at a time. That's just generally not a smart idea. All right, you got anything else, Scott, man? Just that little clarification there?
That is all.
Okay. Well, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think probably the biggest, most simple takeaway here is the main thing for maintaining a high ROAS while you're scaling is to just be testing a shit ton of ads, constantly trying to just come up with more winners and just raise the overall account ROAS. Like that's like, to me, really the crux of it is you can't really help the fact that as you scale up that your overall ROAS is going to go down, But if you're constantly taking steps to increase that ROAS, then you can kind of balance it out. And usually you can, if you're good and you can test a decent amount of ads and make some decent ads, then you should be able to kind of balance those two things out and maintain that high ROAS. So I think there's also some other good tips in here for doing that. Josh, thank you for joining us for this special little episode of the Ecom Dispensary, of this knowledge drop.
Yeah, for sure. It was really fun, actually.
Cool. Well, maybe we'll have you on again. If you guys want more of Josh, let us know in the Telegram. And I think that'll close it off for this episode. We will see you guys in the next one.